Look at the white rock lining this canyon wall. This is a bathtub ring in a drying reservoir, and it is the physical proof that America's fastest-growing regions, the Southwest and Texas, are running out of water. But travel 1,000 miles northeast, and you find a completely different reality. The Great Lakes hold 84. Crossing this line to take even a bucket of water is effectively a legal impossibility, a barrier built to stop a very specific kind of theft. In the late 19th century, Chicago was exploding in population. The city dumped its raw sewage directly into the Chicago River, flowing straight into Lake Michigan, the same lake they relied on for drinking water. People were dying of cholera by the thousands. So engineers came up with a radical solution. They used steam cranes and dynamite to carve a massive, stone-walled trench deeper than the river itself, forcing the water to flow backward. This map traces what happened next. Gravity pulled the water out of Lake Michigan, down the new canal into the Mississippi River system, and eventually all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. It bypassed the rest of the Great Lakes entirely. It solved the cholera crisis for Chicago, but the surrounding states and Canada immediately sued. They realized the city was permanently draining water levels across the entire Great Lakes basin, forcing the Supreme Court to step in and put a strict legal cap on the extraction. Chicago's heist proved that the lakes could be physically siphoned off by gravity and engineering. It left the freshwater reserve exposed to future large-scale extraction. That exposure remained a quiet vulnerability for a century. Then, in 1998, a small Canadian company called the Nova Group quietly secured a permit from the Ontario government to export the water. Their plan was to use massive marine cargo ships to suck 158 million gallons of water out of Lake Superior every single year and sail it across the globe to buyers in Asia. Selling water like a commodity triggered immediate panic because of international trade laws. If one private company is legally allowed to sell a natural resource, it creates a precedent that allows others, including drought-stricken American states, to legally buy it up too. Governors across the Great Lakes realized they were completely unprotected. If the Southwest decided they wanted to buy the lakes dry, there was no explicit law on the books stopping them. This corporate threat forced 8 historically fractured states to unite. They realized they had to build an impenetrable legal wall around the lakes before the rest of the continent bought them dry. In 2008, after 9 years of negotiations, 8 states, 2 Canadian provinces, and the U.S. Congress ratified a binding law, the Great Lakes Compact. The core mechanism is the straddle rule. It dictates no water may be diverted outside the Great Lakes basin. The divide is absolute. A community 5 miles inside this line can use the water. A town 5.1 miles outside cannot touch a single drop. If anyone tries to find a loophole, the compact contains a political kill switch. Every one of the 8 state governors holds an absolute veto power over any proposed pipeline. If one says no, the project dies. By locking down the borders so completely, the compact transformed the lakes from a shared resource into the most exclusive geographic club in North America. For the last 50 years, millions of Americans have migrated south in the Sun Belt boom, chasing warm weather and cheap land in places like Arizona and Texas. But that expansion is hitting a wall. Modern industries, like microchip factories and data centers, require massive, continuous volumes of fresh water to operate. The compact has created a geographic checkmate. Because it is illegal to pipe the water to where the industries are currently building, those industries will be forced to relocate to where the water already is. The Rust Belt is becoming the water belt. This invisible watershed line isn't just an environmental boundary, it is the single most important economic border for the next 50 years of American history.